Hi guys, Kristen here. So I really enjoyed filming, but not editing, my last couple reading vlogs, so I thought I would keep it going. We'll see. Today is Wednesday, March something. It's towards the end of March. So I thought I would give you a bit of an update on where I am, what I've got reading at the moment, what I've got going on. I am going to film at least one video today, maybe two if I can get through the video quickly enough to have like good lighting. I started Fires of Vengeance last night by Evan Winter. This is book 2 in The Burning, I believe the series is called. It's the sequel to Rage of Dragons. I read Rage of Dragons last year, was sort of mixed feelings about it. I had it really hyped up in my head, and there was definite things that I didn't like about it, particularly the main character, Tao. But I included it on my Animal Companions and Magical Creatures readathon TBR. So I've had The Fires of Vengeance actually checked out at the library for a couple weeks now, because I kept thinking that I was going to get to it, and I have 3 days. It expires in 3 days, so I have to read it. I started it last night. I am 11% in. So far, okay. Like, again, I feel like the plot, I'm interested in the plot, I'm interested in the world. This one seems already, I had heard that it was more political, and I can already see it going in that direction, so that's exciting. But Tao is just not for me. He's not for me. This book picks up almost immediately, like a couple days after where the first book ends. So he hasn't had any drastic changes to his personality and growth, which is, I mean, good. That's realistic. But at the same time, I'm already like, oh God, I hate you so much, Tao. Like, why do you do the things that you do? So we'll see if he has character growth over the course of the book. Someone from my book club did go on and read the second book, and she said that she liked it much better than the first book. So I have moderate hopes that I will enjoy this, but it's a priority, and it has to be done in 3 days. I am going to, I think, pick up The Great Hunt next by Robert Jordan. I have not got to that yet this month. And I mean, even if I'm sticking to my compromised goal of one every other month, it means I have to finish it. Not have to. There's no one is holding me accountable to this, but I should finish it by the end of April, and I did read the first one rather slowly. I finished Namesake, obviously that was last Friday, and I kind of went into a little bit of a book hangover after that, and spontaneously, or like my cure for a book hangover is to reread a book you know that you love. So my strategy was to reread Fireborn, which also had a sequel coming out. It came out on, I don't know, Monday or Tuesday of this week. Tuesday. Came out yesterday. Today is the 24th. You know what, guys? Just like, I'm wearing like yoga pants today. So like, that's my life. Where was I? So I was banking on my library purchasing and making available a copy of Flamefall, the second book in the Aurelian cycle, immediately, and I checked the library Overdrive app all day yesterday and today, and no sign yet of Flamefall. A little nervous. Here's the thing, I don't want to buy Flamefall. I probably would buy physical copies. That's how much I love Fireborn as well. It's like Fable and Fireborn were like top 2 favorite books from last year. Normal People was good too. Anyway, it was in the top 5. I bought a copy of Fable, I bought a copy of Normal People, and I would buy a copy of Fireborn, except for that they did a cover change in between the first book and the second book. And while they are obviously only releasing Flamefall in the hardcover in the new book, they're also only releasing the first book with the new cover in paperback. So now I'm not sure what I am going to I don't know what I was going to decide. Like, I will probably purchase these books in the future. I'd be satisfied with paperbacks, but obviously you can't get Flamefall in paperback right now, so it doesn't solve my problem of being able to read this book immediately. I don't really want to buy it on an ebook to then also purchase it later physically, even though I do own physical and ebook copies of books. It's not like I'm not against it, but it's just not, it's not in line with my purchasing goals at the moment. Anyway, I'm gonna film some videos before I lose the light, and I will, check in with you later as I continue to read Fires of Vengeance. Okay, so I just finished filming my videos. I did film 2, although the ending kind of got cut off on the 1, and I'm gonna have to come back and like refilm the ending. My next door neighbors, or like the building beside us, are doing construction, and I just kind of got tired of like having to wait for the drill or the sander or whatever it was that was running to like finish sentences. Like I would like sit and wait, and they'd be, while they were like drilling or sanding something, and then they would stop and I'd be like, quick, start a sentence to like try to get it in, and then I would get cut off again, and I just like don't have the patience for that today. So almost filmed 2 videos. My TBR for April might have like different lighting, different outfit at the end, so we'll see. I have a ton of editing to do. I like have to finish editing my namesake vlog and like add in the component that I just filmed and then get it out today. I got like a little bit behind on like planning videos and editing videos, so that's the plan for right now. So that's it. I'm gonna do some editing and maybe a run, and then hopefully later get back to the Fires of Vengeance. Hi guys, it's Friday around noon. I thought I would pop on and do a little bit of a check-in. I did a decent chunk of reading yesterday, and I'm now 41% into the Fires of Vengeance. Admittedly, it is starting to turn around for me. I feel like for a decent, like for the first third, I was just like so aggravated by Tao. I think that that's actually the general complaint or critique for the first book, Rage of Dragons, is like whatever you feel about the plot, the storyline, the themes, whatever, but like people's biggest issue with it, I think, is just Tao's personality. The first third also was very, very fighting heavy. So in the first 3 chapters, there was a different fight scene in each chapter. A lot of fighting scenes. So if you are really into military fantasy and like high action fantasy, and you haven't read the Rage, or if you haven't started the Burning trilogy, so the first one is the Rage of Dragons, this is the second one, you absolutely should. Like, it was running on me a little bit. I don't mind fight scenes, but it was getting a bit much. But it has since sort of started to taper off a little bit. There's definitely going to be more coming up. But Tao's role, Tao is placed in a slightly more political setting in this book compared to the first one, where the first one was like training. So we're starting to get into that a little bit more. But what I'm really enjoying about this, or like what's really turning it around for me, is that we're really, really digging into the issue of the caste system. And there's been a bunch of really, really great lines sort of describing not the unfairness, but the ways in which the caste system sort of continuously perpetuates itself. So there's been like lines about how like you value, you being like the people at the top tier, you value some things over others and then tell us that that's why we're less than you. I was actually going to read them, and weird thing happened with my e-reader. When I opened it, or like when I got it out this morning, it said I was at 1%. I was like, that's odd. It was no problem. I was able to find where, like, I knew what chapter I was on and could find where I was reading, but then I just went to look at all of like my bookmarks and like all of the quotes that I had highlighted, and they are gone. So I can't read you these quotes, but there's been some really good one-liners. There's one really good line where Tao is like, or one of the nobles asks him, like, you think that you can be as good as a noble? And he says, no, the real truth is that they were never better than me. Like, I don't have to rise up. The reality is that he said it better. I'm not doing it justice. I'm really upset I can't find those quotes. I am appreciating more and more what this book is doing. You know, and I think that there's some like romance blooming in the horizon, which I like romance. I don't want this romance to happen per se because of reasons that would be spoilers from the first book. So I won't get into detail. I watched a really great video on World Hoppers last night. So if you haven't checked out that channel, you absolutely should. It is a collaborative channel run by sort of like 4 primary channels, and that is Joshana, Elliot Brooks, Bedtime Bookworm, and Jessie May. So those are the 4 main channels that run this, but then they invite in a lot of various other booktubers, and they have different kind of extended conversations about various topics, and all of the AdSense proceeds go to charity. And it's a really great channel for being exposed to new other booktubers and channels that you might not have otherwise come across. And also because there's like usually like minimum 4 people, but up to 6, I would say, on any given channel. And so you get exposed to a ton of new books as well. So I watched this video where they were talking about, they just released an anticipated releases video. So now I'm like, there's a bunch of books that they were mentioning that I really want to read right away. Some of them that came up were already out. One that got me really excited was The Bone Maker by Sarah Beth Durst. This new book is apparently, the only thing I had heard about it was sort of like, it was like bone magic, which I was like, yeah, okay, that's fine. Like maybe I'll get to that. But this other booktuber, The Bookish Mom, I believe her name is Jessie, she mentioned that it is essentially like those superheroes, like that little like superhero team that saved the world, but a few years later, or like several years later down the line when they're like older, and it shows the consequences of them saving the world in their lives. And that is such a cool that's such a cool idea. I really want to read that. So I put it on hold right away at the library. I think I have several weeks. So anyway, that is my update. Fires of Vengeance, not so bad. Turning it around for me. Even Tao's personality, I feel like, is softening a little bit. He's starting to have some character traits that I am appreciating. There was just a really cute moment with a child, so of course I'm like, oh yeah, I like Tao now. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye. Hi guys. It is Saturday afternoon. I just this morning got up and rapid fire filmed and edited my reaction video to the new ACOTAR news. It was announced yesterday, so on Friday, that the ACOTAR series is being adapted for television by Hulu. I don't think I have ever filmed or edited a video so quickly. It's currently exporting, so it'll take some time, and it'll be up later today, so it'll already be up by the time this video is out. So if you haven't had a chance to check out sort of my reaction to the news, definitely have a look at that and let me know what your thoughts were. A little bit of an update. So I am 82% through The Fires of Vengeance. I'm actually really enjoying it. I feel like this is a series now where I like the second book much better than the first book. Like, I still don't love Tao. I do think that Tao was worse as a character in the first book. He sort of softened around some of the edges. He's still very much so thinking about revenge, or that's maybe that's what it is that he's not thinking about it all the time. It's still like a plan, and whenever certain people like that have to do with the revenge get brought up, he like immediately gets sidetracked and is like, no, you promised me, like I will get that person you said. But otherwise there's so much other things going on that it is not necessarily just, it's distracting him. And so I appreciate that he's not just like one track note on the revenge. I like what it's doing with sort of like exploring like the caste and privilege system. The new character, the queen, is in this book a lot more. It kind of annoys me. She refers to herself with the royal we, like exclusively. There was just just before I finished reading last night, for the first time she like broke that and said I, but otherwise it has been exclusively we, us, our, and it's really annoying. I don't love that. But I am enjoying this book a lot more, I think, than the first book. And again, like I went into this book with very low expectations, so it had only to go up, from there. My hold at the library, or my reservation at the library, expires sometime this evening, I think like late tonight. So I definitely have time to finish reading up. That's sort of my plan for the evening, is to finish reading this book. Otherwise, I'm gonna run some errands out in town. The stores here in Denmark just opened up sort of a couple weeks ago. So I've sort of like, I feel like we've like let like the rush die down, and Dave and I have some stuff that we've been putting off purchasing since the stores have been almost exclusively closed other than essentials since before Christmas. So we're gonna run some errands today and then do some reading this afternoon and hopefully upload my video before the day is over. If it uploads in time, or if it exports in time. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Hi guys, it is Monday morning or Monday afternoon. It feels like morning because I slept in big time. And I was up reading really late last night, and our time like sprung forward this weekend. But I thought I would pop in and do a little bit of a reading update where I'm at, as well as sort of like wrapping up this vlog. I did manage to finish The Fires of Vengeance on time before my library hold expired. With 4 hours to spare, I finished it. You know what? I liked this book. I liked it a lot more than the first book. Like, I will read the next book in this series now. In this book, he tends to take a little bit more of a stand on some of the issues that are happening within sort of this like revolution / civil war. In the first book, he cared about those issues, and he could see that there was sort of like a revolution rumbling around him and possibly behind him, but he had no interest in being involved because it was just like revenge only. Whereas this one, he like I said, he takes more of a stand. He brings up the issues a lot more, and I really appreciated that he was sort of tuned into that. I found the last quarter of this book particularly interesting. We got a new perspective that shifted to someone on the sort of opposite side of the Civil War, and it wasn't just like a one little snippet like we sometimes get earlier in the book. This was like a hefty chunk of a chapter that was, and like several scenes, in fact, fairly pivotal scenes took place from this other person's perspective. And not only does it make you see, like your characters like Tao and the Queen and whatever, that side of things in a slightly new light, it also gives you a little bit more of the intention and how they see their own side. But she saw Tao and the other queen in a very interesting light, and some of the things made you start to question or see other things that have happened or things that were said earlier on in this book and the last one in a new way, and sort of makes you start to question like, what's going on here? What was even more shocking was that these really significant pivotal moments, especially a very particularly significant moment in Tao's life and journey, does not take place from his perspective. And I think that is because I think it would be maybe very intense to read it from his perspective, or maybe we were supposed to see it from an outside perspective to be like, this is what has become of Tao. This is how this looks from the outside. So that was The Fires of Vengeance. After that, I sort of went into a bit of a reading slump. Like I feel, even now still, I feel like I want to read. I'm in the mood to read, but I don't really feel like anything in particular. There are a few books still from my March TBR that I haven't gotten to, and I just don't really feel like them. There's one that I can't get a hold of, and that is The Winter of the Witch. I put it on my March TBR, but didn't realize that I hadn't requested it at the library, so I did, but it has a huge hold, so I'm not going to get it anytime soon. The other books are The Golem and the Genie, and I was going to do a reread of Normal People, and I just don't really feel like either of those books right now. I was also supposed to start The Great Hunt this month, and I shall still. But I know a couple other booktubers who are reading this at the moment as well, or just finished it. And I've heard that the first 200 pages are a bit of a slog with like some miscommunication errors, and like the 200 pages in, they're like not even started onto the new quest yet. So that is discouraging because it feels like a little bit of a hurdle to get over to get back into it. But as I said, I will start it. I don't feel like anything. I spontaneously picked up Birthday Girl yesterday by Penelope Douglas. This is a contemporary age gap romance. I have heard about it in the past, or I was actually recommended to read it by Vish from Books with V. You can check out, I'll link her channel below. And then when I was trying to think of something to read yesterday, I was watching a bunch of booktube videos, and on Chandler Ainsley's channel, she had this as one of the like mutual pining books, and I thought, sure, why not? I'll give that a try and see if that's what I'm in the mood for. This book is definitely a spicy on the spicy scale. Overall, I enjoyed it. Like, it was fine. This is not my favorite romance ever, but there were definitely some admirable qualities to the romance and the relationship. There were also some things in it that are, I don't want to say triggers for me, but I guess that's realistically. There were some things in it. It wasn't a major part. It was just like one scene that's a particular trigger for me. And so I was already in a weird mood yesterday, and that heightened it. But then because I was in a weird mood, I didn't want to like do or react with anything else, and so I just like kept reading the book. I had thought, I don't think I've ever read an age gap romance before, but I had thought that in an age gap romance they would lean away from the father issue like vibes, and they did not. I think that they tried to do it in a way that was like joking, sort of, but not always. And sometimes it felt like it was because the older, like the male character, was sort of feeling a little bit possessive, but he wasn't in a situation where he felt like he had the right to be possessive. And so then he instead tried to play this fatherly role instead, and that was even weirder. Yeah, just like that is not really my kink. No judgment, it's just not my kink, so that didn't really like do it for me. I did appreciate the main character. I feel like her issues were very understandable given her circumstances and her history and traumas and experiences. So I thought that was well done. I also had a really nice arc for her. So not my favorite romance or like erotica book ever, but I can definitely see why it is popular, and I understand it. It's just not my particular kink. I think that the characters were a really cute match. Like it wasn't like two people who have nothing in common and we're just like so into each other. Like, it wasn't that. These were people who like, yeah, were meant to be together. Like, they really fit, and it made sense even before they were a couple, and there were some significant barriers in the way outside of their age. But I bought the relationship, and I bought how long it took to get there. I'm wondering if what I really want to read next is Flamefall, and I'm feeling kind of slumpy and like I don't feel like reading anything else because what I want to read is Flamefall. I looked it up, and it is 89 Danish crowns, or like 82 Danish crowns on Kobo, which is about 16 Canadian dollars. It's not terrible, but at the same time, it feels wasteful to me, and it feels like a little bit hypocritical of me to get it. I was really trying not to buy too much in terms of books. I do want to buy, I think I'm going to wait for the paperback for this book like in the future just to own them because I love this series already. But so it feels kind of wasteful to purchase the ebook if I know that I'm going to purchase the physical copy at some point in the future. So I'm just feeling really frustrated about this whole situation. Like, I feel like there's this book out there and I really want to read it, and I feel like I just can't get a hold of it, even though like really I could buy it. So I'm having like a really big like internal dilemma over that, and I wonder if that is maybe contributing to my feelings of like reading slumpiness. Anyway, wrapping up, signing off. Thank you for sticking around this long if you are still here. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.